Did you already try
Okay, here we go. This
re-inputting?
might work. Are we live? Yes, we're live. We're live. We're live. It says excellent
You're
conditions.
100% sure?
Yeah, we should be.
I just refreshed. Still says waiting. Oh, now we're live.
There
Yeah,
we go.
100%.
Okay.
Did you already
Okay,
try
here we go.
We're good.
All right, now we need some people to get in here. All right, all right. Whew. All right, technical difficulties. Now we are live.
4 minutes late is better than never.
Yes, exactly. Exactly, exactly. All right, now I got to tweet this. We got to tweet out the link out. 15 watching currently, apparently. Ooh, whoa, whoa, whoa! I don't want to hear myself. Um,
Yeah, I'm hearing your echo too.
um, you're not hearing it consistently, right?
No, I don't. No, I'm not hearing it anymore.
Okay, good. Yeah. All right. 16 viewers currently. We gotta bump that up. Come on.
I mean, we could share it in like Leafs Facebook groups, but then the stream
No.
might get way out of hand.
Yeah, I don't know if that's I don't know if that's a good idea. I mean, we also gave pretty late notice, but I don't know
How's
how.
everyone doing?
16 people. Last time we had much more, so hopefully that goes up. 20 viewers. All right, everybody, come on.
You know what, guys? To kick off the stream, it'd be really good to drop some likes on it right away, just so that we make sure that this stream is going to be good and solid the rest of the way. So if you can drop us a thumbs up for the start, we promise it's going to be a good one.
Facts. So somebody said, what do you think of the Gudis rumors? Now, I don't know if I've heard those Gudis rumors, but
Radko Gudas, I mean, I'd be pretty happy with him. I just don't know how much he would cost.
I read somewhere, I think it was on The Athletic, that he was like a healthy scratch even after like he was acquired. So I don't really know if that's a great idea.
Well, if you're acquiring Radko Gudas, you don't need Kyle Clifford too. Or maybe you do both. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd rather have both. I'm not gonna lie.
Both? Let's
Yeah,
just go for it.
yeah, because now you're adding another guy. Oh my god, that just scared the crap out of me.
You know
Um,
what? I flip-flopped my idea on this entirely because I was a proponent of adding guys like that to the roster, but then I watched The Last Dance, and like you saw what Michael Jordan and the Bulls went through to get through the Detroit Pistons,
yeah,
and like Michael Jordan like went through and added like 15 or 20 pounds worth of muscle, and they came back and swept them in four.
yeah,
It's just like I really want that. And the reason why they were able to do that is because they went out and they got tougher. They got tougher physically, and that made them tougher mentally.
yeah. Okay, we got M White. Did he donate twice? Or
Uh, I'm seeing a dollar twice.
okay, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for the dono. Appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. We're
Hello,
talking Leafs.
everyone. Hey, Richard.
Hey, we've got 27 people in here. That's good. That's a pretty good number.
Lucas, I've never been approached by anyone, but if anyone did approach me, I would be happy to talk to them.
Hey, yeah, I mean, I've been approached four, well, I've been approached 3 times, but like I knew ahead of time of one person that wanted to say what's up to me at a game, so that was pretty cool. Once at the Easter Seal skate from a staff member that skated up to me and said that they watched my videos. So if you're watching this, thank you. That was really cool. Um, and then a couple people in line at the Leafs um, training camp a couple years ago. Like I said, you're no MJ, but you're a legend. Hey, listen, if I was anywhere close to Michael Jordan, man, like that'd be amazing. So I'll take that. Just testing this donation thing. Well, thank you for testing it on this stream. I appreciate that. Um,
So Andrew, do you want to talk about what we're going to be getting into today? Because we kind of did one of these streams maybe like a couple of weeks ago, and we went through and built two variations of what the Leafs roster could look like for next season. And we made some interesting trades. We made use of some interesting theories and some things that could happen, some things that might not, like with compliance buyouts and the Maple Leafs taking advantage of that scenario to try to flex their financial might to improve this team here. But we have a little bit more clarity, maybe, with the signing of Mikko Lehtinen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So maybe, we can be a little bit more straightforward with which guys we're trading, which guys we're not trading. We could talk about the uncertainty and kind of like the puzzle pieces that are coming together for this Maple Leafs blue line.
Yeah. If you guys weren't a part of the last stream, that's basically what we're gonna be doing is just going through and it's fantasy, but at the same time, I feel like we really come up with some ideas that are pretty realistic. Like we don't go, okay, and now we're trading for Sidney Crosby. Like we're going for a realistic lineup here and one that the Leafs could really actually, you know, go forward with. So that's what we're gonna be doing, and hopefully you guys will enjoy this. We have a lot of fun doing these. We want to do them obviously when there's actually, yeah, hockey being on. We'd really like to be able to have streams like this with the NHL actually being a thing because right now it's not. So yeah, I guess we kind of do these to keep everybody still in the hockey mindset and have fun coming up with some ideas. Now, real quick for you, DTSB, did you post this in your do you have the community tab or no?
No, I don't
Not
have the
yet.
community
Okay, I
tab
was
right
gonna say
now.
because that actually probably could work too, but um,
But I will have the community tab at 1,000 subscribers. And if anyone wants to open up another tab, because don't leave the stream, because we're going to be doing some exciting stuff today, and go over to my channel, Downtown Sports. Maybe I'll drop the link in the chat.
it's also in the
And
description box, by the way.
oh, it's also in the description box. Okay, if you guys want to go down to the description box, right click, open in a new tab, hit subscribe on that, then we can really get moving here. It would really mean a lot to me.
Yeah, I mean, I want this guy. Wait, what are you at? Like 682 or 686?
686, yes. I think so.
686. So, um, let's get yo. Can we get him to 700 during this stream? Like, I mean, there's already 40 people here. I know some of you guys already know who he is, but like, if we can get to 700, like, I mean, that'd be pretty solid during this stream. Like, that'd be a cool milestone during the stream. So, um, go in the description box right now, right click into a new tab, subscribe to his channel. I'd really like to I'd really like to see him get to 700. Don't wait for 9.99. We want
So many people have said that to me, and it's just like, you know what? If all of you just subscribed at once, it would be awesome.
yeah.
We'd get there a lot faster.
Yeah, if you guys could help me with that, that'd be amazing. Yeah. Yeah, see, Austin says that that you always respond, and that's another thing. If you comment on his videos, he will reply to you. That's the good thing. He will reply to your comments. Uh,
Okay, but I think that we should jump into some stuff
oh,
here.
we're gonna get into it right now. We're gonna be looking at the Toronto Maple Leafs for next year. Downtown Sports is hella underrated, big time. But anyways, we're looking into the Leafs next year. The cap is probably gonna be at 81,500,000 dollars. Excuse me, I had McDonald's earlier. I got the root beer burps going on right now, but um, the team is going to be fun to watch. I know it will be. We got some new faces coming in, so I feel like we should just quickly add those new names in, because one of them is pretty substantial, I would think, in Mikko Lehtinen or Lehtinen, however you want to pronounce it, and Alexander Barabanov, who's basically probably been promised a spot on this team because um, it just makes too much sense. But all
And I
right.
think we can bump off Kalle Rosen and Martin Marincin.
Yeah, we can. I'm just gonna say for now that I'm gonna say Marinson is being fired into the sun. He's going down there.
Well, I
Uh,
mean, we can have a conversation about that because even people that are respected in the blogging community, like Mike Augello or Mike from Buffalo or Mike in Buffalo, whatever his Twitter handle is, was kind of was kind of, I don't know, was kind of hating on him today a little bit. Like this signing kind of makes him expendable, and it's just like, well, I mean, how expendable is your eighth or ninth best defenseman, right? And is it a problem that he's your our eighth or ninth guy?
No, it's really not. I mean, I don't hate Marinton as much as everybody else because, I mean, I remember when the Leafs extended him for like league min, I was like, this is good. Like, I mean, just having depth is not a bad thing. Like, Marinton could still kill penalties. I'm not against him that much. But when you bring in a guy like Lettinen, I mean, Cali Rosen is your extra guy. You're probably not using Marinton over Cali Rosen. So, um, currently this is what the blue line would look like. And there's a guy that I think we could have a pretty solid discussion on that's also on this list, Timothy Liljegren. This is what I wanted to bring up to you right off the bat because
Okay.
with this blue line, you can't you can't go past him because to me personally, I know he's still young, but the Leafs can't keep telling us he's developing. They're trying to develop him next year. Oh, we wanted to use him this time, but he got injured, whatever. They have to give us a statement on what are you doing with Timothy Liljegren? Because I, for one, have been back and forth on, you know, what should they do with him? Does it make sense for them to hold on to him in the minors? Like what are they gonna do with Timothy Liljegren? Uh,
In my mind, if Timothy Liljegren isn't traded by this August, he's in their long-term plans
mhm. I was gonna say
because
it just makes too much sense. Like if you're gonna use the guy, then use him. But if you're not, then I mean, put him as a part of a package for a trade.
I mean
Um,
a lot of people want to crap on him because he's not as good as Rasmus Sandin, but that's okay, right? He still did have 30 points in 40 games in the AHL this year as a 20-year-old for the most part because his birthday's at the end of April. So he just turned 21, had 30 points in 40 games for the Marlies this season. There's nothing wrong with him taking a little bit more time. Not everyone can be Kale McCarr or Morgan Riley.
if only. That'd be pretty nice. Yo, shout out to RKO NWO in the chat. YouTube wrestling legend. Um, Timothy Liljegren would be a good option for the Leafs if they in fact aren't going to go out there and acquire another defenseman. But to me, it seems like there's another guy that we're also leaving out here that we kind of need to put into the discussion, and he needs a contract, and that's Travis Dermott. So this Travis Dermott might be one of the more important pieces, excuse me, that the Leafs need to think about this offseason. Well, I mean, technically, we're in the offseason if you want to consider it that, because, I mean, that's what I'm considering it as. But the it's funny how big this Mikko Lehtinen signing means for this team now, because now it adds another left-handed shot, and you're like, okay, well, the first thing I thought was, okay, Dermott's gone. Like, this guy's is going to be traded, or like, I don't even know. Like, what are they going to do with him?
I mean, the chances are, like I said at the beginning of this season, that he had a huge opportunity to come in here and just really seize the opportunity to develop a special team because he doesn't play on the power play and he doesn't really kill penalties. I was looking on NHL.com earlier and they have a stat where it shows like the percentage of ice time that someone spends killing penalties. And it's like 20% or something like that, where guys like Justin Hull or Cody Cece um, were right around like 50 or something like that, or like 40. So he doesn't really kill penalties. He doesn't really play on the power play. He's kind of a guy that's been sheltered on the third pairing. He kind of took a step and was playing top 4 minutes when everyone was injured. And he played fine. But when you're looking at that left side now with Rasmus Sandin and Mikko Lehtinen, it's so apparent that one of those guys have to flip over to the right side. And I guess it kind of ties into the conversation with Lehtinen. Like, he's comfortable playing on the right side. He played an entire season in the Swedish league, just not this season, but the year before that on the right side. and he's pretty comfortable. He says that he's comfortable playing either side, and they're ready to go whatever wherever they need him. So, and Travis Dermott played the right side in the OHL and for the Marlies for a little bit. So, if Travis Dermott has a future on this team, it's going to have to be on the right side.
And see, the thing is, to me, is it's like, well, who is it then? Are you getting rid of Dermott or are you getting rid of Timothy Liljegren? Because one of those guys will be out of the lineup. Like, it's not Rasmus Sandin. And the other thing that I brought up to you was what happens if the Leafs turn around and upgrade on Justin Hull? Like, what happens if they turn around and trade Justin Hull as a part of a package with, Andreas Janssen and a prospect like Bracco just to toss him in there because, I mean, his value is kind of shot right now, but it's kind of like here's a lottery ticket, maybe he'll work out for you. And then you add in something else, like a pick or a conditional pick or something like that, and you go after an upgrade on your blue line. Like, is that a possibility? Like, a lot of people have been tossing a bunch of names out,
See,
and
I'm cool with not rushing Liljegren. I'm cool with not rushing Sandine because you can just call them up and down, and it's not going to have an effect because they still have a two-way contract. So they're not. We don't have to worry about waivers with them. So I don't really care if they start the season in the American Hockey League and then come back up or get shuttled up and down. With Travis Dermott, I like having depth. I like having as much depth as possible. If he wants to sign a 1 year deal for dirt cheap, maybe like 1.25 million or 1.5 million, something like that.
it'll be a million and a
It's
half.
it's possible that we can still keep him. It's
Yeah.
possible that we could still keep him and add another guy there.
So you still think
So
we can add?
we might, well, we might. It depends. We have to pinch some pennies. We have to make some compromises and some sacrifices. But let's put Travis Dermott. Let's actually go and sign him and put him on LTIR for now, just to subtract the cap hit, and we'll come back to him later as we're developing this.
All right.
I wouldn't move Justin Hull though. I like Justin Hull. I think he has the ability to play top 4 minutes, especially because the right side is so thin. I don't see him getting moved, and he's something that the Maple Leafs lack right now. They need somebody to kill penalties. If Travis Dermott would have taken that step this year and been a bigger part of the Maple Leafs penalty kill, we wouldn't be talking about him as a trade option. He'd be a lock on this team for next season if he just killed penalties with some sort of regularity.
But see, this is where I have to argue that point and say, well, you know how you solve that problem is you just trade people to get that. Like, the Leafs' biggest issue the last few years is the fact that they haven't had that defenseman where they can say, okay, well, we've got Jake Muzzin on the left side who can do these things, but we don't have anybody on the right side that can do the same things. And Justin Hall, if he wasn't getting those opportunities, it means that the Leafs aren't ever going to give him those opportunities because they would have already given him those opportunities with all the injuries and everything like that. He would have been given the green light to go and do these things. The Leafs were still inserting Marinson into the lineup to make sure that they had somebody to kill penalties. So to me,
Well,
that
they were
means
doing that because Cece was also injured too.
yeah, but okay, but you don't need to use Marinson if they think that Hall's a better version of that. But they aren't. That's the
I,
thing.
I don't know. For $2 million, I don't think that you're going to be able to get a much. But to get a better player than Justin Hall, you're probably going to have to pay $2.5 million, $3 million even, unless you overpay in a trade and get someone to retain salary, which I don't think the Dubas is in the market for overpaying in a trade like that. But it's just like the cost to upgrade. The cost to upgrade is something that the Maple Leafs can't really afford. The difference between $2.5 million and $2 million, as we're gonna see here as we're going through and building this roster, we're gonna end up being like 700K short.
Yeah, that's true. I'm seeing people talking about Big Buff in the comments. Uh,
I made a video about Big Buff, but not for the sense that I think that he's coming to the Leafs or that he would be a useful player. I just made the video on Big Buff to say, like, hey, I understand why people would want him, but we can go out and get someone else. And we can maybe talk about Mikko Lehtinen as maybe a solution to that. Then Mikko Lehtinen could fill that hole.
you know what though? Like, this is what I was thinking. What happens if Dustin Bufflin is in shape? What happens if this whole time he's just like this off season or this period of him not, playing with Winnipeg, that he was just sick of playing there and he was waiting for teams to call him and be like, okay, like here's the situation. We know you don't want to just leave on the terms that you left on. You're not just trying to retire and leave like you did. Play 1 year for us, go for it, and then make your decision. You don't have to tell us anything else. Sign on the dotted line. You made it apparent that money is not an issue. You walked away from $14 million. Come here, play for 1 year. Like
See,
it
but
doesn't
that's
even
the
have to be
thing, though.
Toronto, but
That's the thing. When I said in my video, the guy walked away from $14 million. If you're walking away from $14 million, it's because you know you're not going to be playing anymore. Because all he had to do was show up to camp, sit on LTIR, and collect his paycheck. But he didn't want to do that. He just said that I'm done, and I'm walking away on my own terms.
yeah, but that could have been an organizational issue. Like he could have just been like, no, like I'm not helping you whatsoever. I'm not sitting on LTR. I'm not showing up. I'm not doing anything. Like there could be a problem there. I do not
But his
know.
contract's terminated anyway, so the Jets got out of it. Like it's
Yeah. Again, like I'm just throwing that out there. If Dustin Bufflin was healthy and he wasn't overweight, I would 100% like that. I would
but
1 million percent.
they terminated that contract in February. You don't walk away from $14 million in February to sign for $1 million or $2 million 8 months later. And he
Dude.
has until the trade deadline next season to sign a contract because that's like the cutoff date for being eligible to play in the playoffs.
Mhm.
You don't walk away from $14 million to then 12 months later come back and sign $1 million deal.
Well, who knows?
He's
Change of
done.
heart. Change of
He's
heart
done.
could change that. I agree that he's done. I've said that a million times, but I'm just saying players do have changes of heart. They can be like, maybe I shouldn't have done this. I want to go back and run it back for a couple of years. You never know. Um, I personally think that Buffalo would be a good, you know, addition if he was healthy and in fact he wanted to keep playing. But from all accounts, it looks like there's no news on him because he's just completely been like, okay, I've walked away now. Like, please stop talking to me. Uh, basically, so I don't know. People are saying, why does Anaheim want to keep Manson so bad? Because when you rebuild, you need players that are good to rebuild.
They're also delusional because they're going to end up trading him anyway a year from now because they're going to realize that their rebuild is not that far along,
Well,
and they're going to piss away so much in value that they could get right now for him.
Well, again, who knows? With the times that are going on right now, you never know. Maybe again, like there's going to be a lot of changes because a guy like Chris Johnston, who was on Sportsnet this morning, he was talking about the fact that teams might be like, okay, well, uh, we can't we can't wait around it and look towards next season or the season after. Like we're in trouble right now. We need to acquire some younger pieces and shed some dollars. We need to trade this guy, this guy, this guy. Who knows? I don't know
which
what.
makes which makes guys like Justin Holl, Travis Dermott, and Miko Leitonen so much more valuable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you were to trade Travis Dermott, what are you realistically going to get for him? A second round pick, a third round pick? It's not worth it. It's not worth having those future assets. You need Travis Dermott. You need a player like Travis Dermott right now. You need a guy like Justin Holl right now. And if you were to clear out his cap space, you're going to be taking back less in the trade. You're not going to be getting fair value. And that third or fourth round pick that you eventually get for him, it's not going to help you. I'd rather just have Justin Holl.
Yeah,
I'd
I
rather
mean,
just have Travis Dermott.
I like him too, but if okay, let's just put Travis Dermott back in here. Is this defense substantially better? This core of guys.
I mean, it depends on how much you like Tyson Barrie.
Well, I mean, defensively he's not that great, so no, I don't like him a hell of a lot.
I'd say this defense is just about as good as it was this
Then that's a
season.
problem.
But it might even be better if you get better luck with health, right? I mean, the Maple Leafs were basically without Morgan Riley the entire season this year because he admitted to playing injured
So
at the start of the season.
so who's your top pairing defenseman with Morgan Riley? Travis Dermott.
Uh, yeah,
So
I mean, I guess
are we
that
going with
stumps
that?
what I'm just saying right now.
Because now you're like, oh, Dermott was not that
Okay,
great last year.
hold on. Switch Muzzin and Hole, or switch Like make Muzzin and hold the top pairing.
Oh, that's true. I mean, that is your top pairing, but at the same time, Morgan Riley's your best defenseman in terms of points, and most
In the
people look at him as
season,
the best.
let me just look this up real
Here,
quick because I
here's
mentioned
my
it.
point. Here's my point. Morgan Riley at some point is gonna go. Why am I still not playing with a guy that can keep up with me? That's
Travis Dermott can keep up with him.
yeah. Did he last year? He didn't look that great last year, and I love Travis Dermott.
Well, okay. In the season where Morgan Riley had 72 points and was so effective, I mean, keep in mind he also had, what did he have? He also had 54 even strength points. He only had, no, what did he have? He had 21. He had 51 even strength points and 21 points on the power play, which for a defenseman, absolutely insane. He was a lethal offensive defenseman at 5-on-5. But in those 5-on-5 minutes, the year that he had those 51 points at even strength, his zone starts percentage was 55 or 56 and 44,
Yeah,
right? He was a little bit sheltered. A little bit sheltered. The year before that, when he put up 52 points, it was 48 and 52. So a little bit more of a defensive role. And this season, it was 50-50 basically.
yeah, it's true. But this is what I can't get. This is what I can't get through my head here. With injuries or without injuries, Justin Hall and Jake Muzzin were playing against top pairings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or top lines. Justin Hall, when given that opportunity, did okay. He didn't do great. He did okay. So, are
Mm-hmm.
you that comfortable with putting Justin Hall on the ice against Patrice Bergeron, Brad Marchand, David Pastrnak on a
Listen, I'm
consistent basis?
listen. I'm comfortable with Rasmus Sandin and Timothy Liljegren not being with the Leafs to start the season.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
But I am comfortable with it because if you have Morgan Riley and you have Mikko Leighton in now, where's there room for Rasmus Sandin on the power play? And
Well,
what's the point of him playing 10 minutes at even strength and not playing on the power play and
okay,
or on the penalty kill?
okay, but here's the thing: the Leafs' second power play unit is awful. So they are gonna go with two defensemen on that unit because Leitonen is very good. Apparently, from the point I've seen, I mean, we've looked at clips. He looks like he has a really good
which
shot.
which solves one of the problems that we were talking about. The Maple Leafs need another shot option on the power play. They need someone else other than Austin Matthews. So having a guy that can take shots like that makes Austin Matthews that much more dangerous on the power play. So I mean, I mean Morgan Riley did score 20 goals the year beforehand. I don't know why he can't be that guy. He
He
does have a decent wrist shot.
he can, but what I wanted to add was Rasmus Sandin will play with Lettinen on that second power play unit. I guarantee it.
So you're thinking the Maple Leafs go with 4-1 and then 3-2 on their second?
Yeah, because
Okay,
because
okay, okay.
that second unit is not as reliable anyways. So if you have Sandin and Lettinen who both can score from there, they Sandin's shown that he's got an offensive minded style of play. So why not let him and Lettinen just go for it, man? Just let them play around. Let them both be a forward every once in a while. Like they can circle around. I'm not saying like actually become a forward, but I mean like let Lettinen move around. Let him go to the circles, man. Let him take shots from there because we've seen like there's clips of him doing it in the KHL. So why not let him do it in the NHL? He might as well. He's done it before.
You know who played on the Maple Leafs power play years ago and had a really good shot and everyone absolutely hated him? Or they thought he was underrated and then he was overrated to a certain extent?
What you talk? Are you wait? Hold on. I didn't hear the first part. Are you talking Brian McCabe?
No, 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 not that far back.
Oh,
Like
okay.
maybe like 5 or 6 years ago.
What like Dion Phaneuf?
No, I'm talking about Cody Franzen. Cody Franzen had an
Yes.
amazing shot from the point, and the Maple Leafs need something like that. Well, so did Brian McCabe. He also had a really good point shot.
Yeah, I mean Phaneuf did too, but it just never hit the net. That was the problem. He just
They
was
should
hitting people.
they should have moved Dion Phaneuf closer, like maybe like 10 or 15 feet closer, and it would have been fine.
Yeah. Hot take hockey. What's up?
Hey, John.
Riley was taken off the top power play unit and then injured. Had he been consistent on that power play and stayed healthy, he probably would put up around 60 points. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
definitely. We know how good Morgan Riley is, but there's also another comment on here too that said the decor listed above is a disaster. We were talking about a team that wants to compete for the Stanley Cup. They will not win anything with the above decor. And see, this
Well,
is this is where I keep going back to, where it's like I feel like to me, Travis Dermott is still the odd man out.
the
Like,
Penguins may do with less, though.
yeah, they did,
I,
but
I, I would argue that they made do with less 2 years in a row.
I mean, I agree with you there, but to me, it just seems like, and we said this in the last live stream, it seems like Dubas's job is on the line if they don't go out of the first round. And the reason why I'm saying that, well, here's the thing: it's not his problem if he goes out there and gets another defenseman on top of this, because then he's like, okay, well, I got you all what you wanted. I brought you physicality with Clifford if he resigns. I brought in depth with Lehtinen. I've got prospects that are coming in that are trying to play. I brought in Barabanov. I re-signed Mikheyev if that happens. Whatever. Like he's going to be giving us all this crap, and if the Leafs don't do good, then it's like, okay, well the players have failed you. Like I mean, I've done what I could and I've done what you told me to do. Now now like how is this my problem? But if we go into the playoffs with this blue line and they get bounced again in the first round, then to me Dubas is on the hot seat, and I'm a huge Dubas fan.
See, but it even speaks to what Ninja was saying here than what John said to answer him. Do you think the Leafs should trade someone like Kapanen, some solid prospects they have, just not Sandine, and then like a first or a second rounder for a top four right-handed shot defenseman or two-way defenseman? So, and then what John said is that that guy would have to be in their late 20s or a guy that's in their prime. And then at that point, they'd also have to be on a team friendly deal. And then at that point, you're looking at like five guys in the league, and four of them are not in a position to be traded because their teams are also looking to win the Stanley Cup. And the other guy's Josh Manson, and Bob Murray's just on an island. Like he's doing his own thing. He's marching to the beat of his own drum, and he's not. No one knows what the Ducks are right now.
Yeah. But see, this is where I also agree with what Hot Take Hockey is saying here. He says obviously the best case scenario is they use Hall in a smaller role and get a better shutdown right-handed defenseman for the top four. And see, this is what I wanted, because I think Justin Hall was much better when he wasn't told, okay, you need to go out there and be the top four guy that's taking on the first pairing. Like, realistically, I would like to see Justin Hall with Morgan Riley, because sure, Riley's going to play a lot, but if you give a guy to Jake Muzzin that can play in that top two pairing that actually can chew up minutes against top lines, then you're set, because you've got a top four that actually is good. You've got two guys like, because I think people forget how good Jake Muzzin is. Like Jake Muzzin is the Leafs' best overall defenseman, because he plays really good defensively, and that's what they need. If they need a right-handed shot, Jake Muzzin, and it's said in here, it doesn't grow on trees. Like you can't just get one of those guys. So it's how the Leafs figure out a way to get a guy like that, or like because to me it's like I just don't see how they walk into the season and go, we fixed everything with these guys.
See, but I also think that people are looking at the Maple Leafs defensive core and they're remembering the start of the season, then they're remembering the transition period between the coaches, then they're remembering the injury riddled period that we had. And I don't think people are giving the defense enough credit, or the guys that we have right now. I don't think they're giving them enough credit. I think that the defense is not as bad as what we've seen from this season. We just needed guys to be healthy, and that's where that depth conversation comes in.
Yeah,
We just needed a little bit more luck. And I think that Morgan Riley playing injured to start the season and then missing 8 weeks from a broken foot, I I really do think that that's the difference between this Leafs defense. Like, what team in the NHL can say that they didn't play without their number one defenseman all season long and still have some type of stability with their blue line?
yeah,
And the
yeah,
Leafs blue line was already mediocre to begin with. The best case scenario for the Leafs blue line this year, it was going to be middle of the pack, closer to the bottom, somewhere between like 15th and 20th in the league.
yeah. And I mean, they also didn't have Jake Muzzin for a large period of time. They started the season without Travis Dermott, who a lot of people think he actually played injured as well when he came back. Like he might have been rushed a little bit. And then you were mixing and matching pairings and stuff like that. And then, of course, people are saying Freddie Anderson also had a really bad season. If you get
That too.
if you get league average goaltending in some of those games, the Leafs are like locked into a playoff spot
I
essentially.
said it before. I have the number memorized in my head from January 1st onwards at even strength. Frederick Anderson had an 897 save percentage. That's at even strength. So we're not counting the penalty kill in there at all. I believe Michael Hutchison was at a 914 and Jack Campbell was in the high 920s.
Mm-hmm.
Frederick Anderson, 897. Bro, give me like a 905 or a 910. Not as good as the other two guys. And Michael Hutchison was bad. And Jack Campbell was actually pretty serviceable. So, I mean, if Anderson can be somewhere between there, I think the Maple Leafs win a couple more hockey games and their cushion on Florida is a little bit more, and people aren't so worried.
Okay, so people in here, we got Danny Houghton saying, you can't have multiple players making $3+ million on your third line and run with a mediocre defense. The Leafs clearly high have two end talent up front. Like I believe you meant high end, and need to deal from a point of strength. Well, that's something they're gonna do because let's go to the forwards. Let's get to our forward talk here. Okay,
Okay.
so the trade options for the Leafs. I mean, I think Andreas, guys, by the way, we're using long term injured reserve as like our trade block for now. Okay, so LTIR, Andreas Janssen, that's the trade block. Um, I don't think there's any more substantial names that need to go on that trade block, but
Take Pierre Engvall and put him in the minors for right now because I'm not a fan of trading him, but I'm also not locking him into a roster spot next season. Like that guy needs to show us more than what he showed us in the last 20 games that he played was absolutely abysmal. The only point that he had was the goal that he scored on David Ayers.
yeah,
So like, and I think that's going to cost the Leafs 175K. I think it should say like next to his name if you scroll down a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah,
175,000.
175K to bury him and still have him as a depth piece.
Yeah, although I would have him in my roster. I'm not gonna lie. I think that.
Okay, well we'll come back to it.
All right, Nick Robertson, are we giving him that shot?
100%. Nick Robertson is getting that shot. He plays 9 games with the Leafs next season, at least 9 games. Or sorry, he plays at least 1 game with the Leafs next season, or I delete my channel.
Damn. I think he's gonna play too. Um, People are saying that they need to go after Alex Petrangelo. That's not happening.
No, I did a video on my channel talking about it. I could not. No, you're gonna decimate way too much of that forward core.
All right. So there's a name that's not on here that's basically said he's gonna be coming back, like no matter what. Pretty much is
Jason Spezza,
yeah.
baby.
Jason Spezza is 100% coming back to the Leafs.
Get the
Uh,
boat motor going because we're gonna be laughing all the way to the bank when he comes back and scores another 30 or 40 points.
yeah, he's definitely gonna be coming back. So we're gonna get that 1 year deal for Big Spets. He's gonna be probably on that fourth line, although I would really like to see him play. Although Robertson playing with Kerfoot would be pretty fun, and Kapanen that line would just be so much fun. Uh,
Well, a guy that would maybe slot a little bit higher the lineup than Nick Robertson would be Ilya Mikheyev.
yes, and I mean I think that that's fair enough that we should probably just sign him right now.
Now,
Uh,
when we're talking about the dollar amount, it was really interesting. They mentioned it on the Steve Dangle podcast, but it was also a pension plan puppets article where they said a couple of agents that had primarily Russian clients, like Dan Milstein, who is the agent of Ilya Mikheyev and Alexander Barabanov and Nikita Kucherov and a couple of other really high profile Russian players, were exiled from the KHL, kicked out, no longer allowed to sign their clients because they were seen as okay. Now they signed with this agent, and now they're poachers for NHL teams.
damn.
So, and I mean, if you look at Dan Milstein, Mikheyev, um, and and
Barabanov.
Barabanov, both came over. Were kind of like decent players in Russia. The Leafs poached them both. But I think the fact that Kyle Dubas has a good relationship with the agent, has a good relationship with the player, I think that we're going to get a good deal on Mikheyev here.
So, what do you think his term is? It's more than 1.5.
So if you sign him to a 3-year contract, 3 years would be one UFA year. 2 years would take him right up until He's an unrestricted free agent. And 1 year is probably the safest bet because if he comes back and has a healthy year, he's going to be looking for a big payday
Yeah, so I'm thinking 1.8 for
for
one
one
year.
season.
Yeah, dude,
Okay.
he's gonna get. I think he's gonna get that number. I can't see how it'd be any less, to me personally, unless it's more of a prove yourself deal, and he's like, listen, like this is what we've got for you.
Well, I mean, like it's saying there, he only played 39 games, right?
That is true.
And he was playing with John Tavares and William Nylander for a bulk of it.
So what is it? 1.5 then?
I'm saying 1.5.
All right, let's try 1.5. I mean, when you just named that he only played like he played less than 40 games, like that's kind of crazy. Like I don't think that they could get him close to yeah, no. Some people are in here already saying trade Nylander. It's not gonna happen.
We're
Um,
okay. Okay, wait, hold on a second. I'm not saying no to trading William Nylander, but
I am.
just not right now. We're gonna try to make do without doing it, and then we'll have that conversation at the very end.
If but here's the thing. If you're trading one of those the four guys here, like the Nylander contract right now looks like a really good valuable contract.
Yes, it is.
So
So
it doesn't make a ton of sense to trade a guy that you're at a strength with having him.
see, but there are several moves that we can do instead of trading one of those guys. So that's you're jumping ahead like 20 steps
Yeah,
with
so
even talking about that right now.
right now currently with this roster, there's a couple
Mm-hmm.
options. You can bring back Pierre Engvall and slide him in on that fourth line.
So wait, so hold on. This is with two scratches.
Yeah, or this is one scratch.
Well, two. You have the
Oh, Timothy Liljegren.
yeah.
So this is with two scratches, which we believe is probably not going to happen. So I mean, why don't we just put Cali Rosen down here?
Okay.
So Timothy Liljegren's your extra. So you actually have about $3 million to play with here. 3.2, and
Mm-hmm.
obviously this is also with trading Andreas Janssen. So his obviously his cap doesn't matter anyways. It's on the LTIR, but this is actually a decent chunk of change. So you have a chance to you have a chance to, like I said, bring back Pierre Engvall, or if you want to still have that physicality, which I think would be a good idea because you've seen how the Kasperi Kapanen started playing, you bring
Yes.
back Kyle Clifford. And I do believe that he would probably give the Leafs the benefit of the doubt because, from all accounts, it looked like him and his family had settled in very fast, even though it was a very short period of time. He was saying that. His son's favorite player was Jake Muzzin because they
Mm-hmm.
were neighbors
Like
before.
ran into his arms and gave him a huge hug when they were reunited with each other.
So to me, it seems like a no-brainer that you bring him back. But again, what is the number for him? So
And I mean, people are going to be quick to say, "Oh, if they sign Kyle Clifford, then the third round pick becomes a second round pick." Because I don't care.
yeah, that doesn't
They're
matter.
giving up the pick anyway. I don't care.
Whoa.
I mean, the difference between a second and a third, we got Miko Leitinen for free. You got
Yeah.
Alex Barabana for free. I mean, there we got Mikheyev for free last off season. I mean, how many draft picks and stuff like that? I mean, you either you either give up the second instead of the third and trade draft picks for a guy like Kyle Clifford at the trade deadline, or you just give up like 20 spots higher because
Yeah.
you're already giving up the pick anyway.
Exactly. Also, hot take hockey. I completely agree. Like Tavares is going nowhere. Lucas saying the same thing. Like, trust me, we don't believe Tavares is going anywhere either. And people seem to forget he has a no trade clause, so he's not getting traded. Okay. And we love Johnny T. He was fantastic for them, and he took a pay cut to come here. So no, that's not happening. People are
I think he took
saying,
like $13 million less because the Sharks offered him $13 million a season for they offered
yeah.
him $2 million more, $14 million less to sign with the Leafs than what he would have gotten with the Sharks because the Sharks offered him $13 million a season for 7 years, so 2 million times
So
seven.
Danny Houghton says trade Janssen and Dermott for draft picks. Let Barry and Cece walk. Barry and Cece on this roster are already gone. That money has no effect on the Leafs cap right now in what we're doing. The Leafs don't have enough money for Petrangelo, even if you do everything that you just said. Um, people are
Listen,
saying here we've got different people saying here if he's asking over a million, show him the door in terms of Clifford. But guys,
100%.
no, Clifford's getting at least 1.2.
Bro, he played just over 9 minutes a night. I'm not giving that guy over $1 million to play this year.
I think
He serves one purpose, physicality. One.
I'm
Why is
going
he
at a
getting more than a
million.
million bucks?
I would say a million.
His
Personally,
skating's not a standout. His shot's not a standout. His playmaking ability's not a standout. He doesn't play on the power play and he doesn't kill penalties. Why are you paying him over $1 million?
yeah, I mean we both said this the last time, but I was just thinking it's like what happens if he's just like, well, then I'm out. Then okay, he's out. But I kind of like the fit. I would give him $1 million just to keep him happy. $1 million, nothing more. That's what I would go with. I think they have to give him a
I'm fine.
million
I'm fine with that.
because other teams are going to give him that money. Like he's gonna get paid, like
Yeah.
regardless.
Lucas is saying something that I said in the last stream that we did here. Bro, Kyle Clifford can go get $2 million a season on the open market from the Senators, from the Red Wings, from any other bottom feeding team that's not going to make the playoffs. He can go get $2 million all he wants. 1.5, 1.6. If he wants to win, any contending team can only afford to pay him $1 million. I'm sorry, pick one. You want to lose? Go to Ottawa. You want
Yeah,
to win? Come to Toronto or somewhere else. Then
but
just like
see,
another contending team.
to me, we have to consider this. The Leafs clearly liked him enough that they wanted him in that deal, right? They wanted him in that
Mm-hmm.
trade. They wanted to upgrade that point, right? So we have to be
I think
realistic.
the main piece of that trade was Jack Campbell, though.
Well, of course, but we have to be realistic here on what the player could want because we can sit here all day and be like, well, if you want to contend, that doesn't mean he's gonna just be like, oh, you're right. Like he could be like, well, who knows if I'm gonna get hurt this year and never be able to get another contract. You know, maybe he wants that extra $1 million, right? It's
Richard,
like,
I didn't mean any offense to Ottawa. The city itself is great, but the hockey team is very bad.
yeah, the team is terrible. I mean, they're gonna get some picks though. Man, they're gonna look good, but um,
$1 million. I'm
yeah,
for it. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, I've been watching The Last Dance, and we looked at
it's
what
not,
Michael Jordan.
it's not even close to that generation or that style anymore, dude. Like,
No, it's not. But we saw what Michael Jordan had to do to get past the Pistons. They talked about it in The Last Dance. They needed to get tougher, and they went out. Michael Jordan added like 15 pounds of muscle in the offseason like it was nothing, and they came out and swept them in four.
yeah,
So I am all for bringing in some physicality. I'm all for it. Just I'm not paying that much for it because we can go out and get a guy like Patrick Maroon. I don't know how much he's going to cost, but he made like 700K this year with the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm pretty sure.
yeah. Hot Take Hockey just brought up a really good point. Spezza's making 700K. Cliff can take the mill or take a hike. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, Spets has also made his money already, right?
yeah, that's true. So,
But so is Clifford. Like he made $1.6 million for the last 4 seasons or whatever it is. But yeah, I'm not, like I said in the last stream, no offense to Air Ontario, but I'm not compromising with someone from Air Ontario. I didn't even know where Air Ontario was before he got traded here. So not
um,
compromising.
we already have people are saying we can bury that money in the minors. We've already buried somebody in the minors. We've buried Pierre Engvall. So 1 year, 1 million for Kyle Clifford. This is telling him we're going all in, and if you want to be a part of it, that spot is yours.
I mean, I'm even comfortable giving him a 2-year deal at $1 million if that's what makes him stay.
I think 1 year is probably what it's going to be. I don't see how
But
they would give him two, especially with the contracts that they're going to have to deal with in the next year. So, um, I think that forward core is good because you're also hoping like this is what we said in the last stream. The last stream, if Nick Robertson comes up to the Leafs and scores like 15 goals, you're laughing
mm-hmm.
because then you're like, oh my god, like this is good. Like we've got another guy that can score, and
John, I'm just joking. It's
yeah,
just
it's a joke.
yeah.
And then you bring in a guy like Barabanov who can be on your fourth line, who actually looks like he can play a little bit, so that's good. You bring back Jason Spezza, good presence in the room, a guy that can go out there and do some good for your team. And you've got Mikheyev coming back. You've got some depth on that blue line, but I'm seeing $2.2 million in cap space, and I'm seeing two options on that blue line that you could trade in a package to acquire another defenseman. And I'll keep going back to it. It makes too much sense if you have $2 million to mess around with. If you can take one of those guys and upgrade to a guy who's a $3 million defenseman, you know what I mean? Like you, it makes too much sense to me that they have that option.
I'm not a huge fan of trading Justin Holl because he's something right now that the Maple Leafs desperately lack. He's a right-handed shooting defenseman. He's a bigger defenseman, whether he throws that around or not. He's a bigger guy, and he kills penalties. Those are three things that the Maple Leafs are lacking. I'm not trading him. So if you're going to trade one of those guys, it's going to be Travis Dermott.
Yeah, I mean it makes too much sense to me. Like why wouldn't you trade Travis Dermott? Because let's think of some options. I've seen some people in the comments say, "What about Tanev? If Tanev gets hurt, sure you can put Timothy
Which is likely
Liljegren.
to happen.
You can get Timothy Liljegren in there, but keep in mind Tanev was healthy all season this year before the the whole thing, the virus. But there's there's a good chance that if the Leafs picked him up, that his number would be a little bit too much for them. I think.
Yeah, he'd probably command somewhere around 4 to 5 million bucks, and I'm not a huge fan of going all in on that when there's cheaper options.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, Rick, we understand, but we were talking about the forwards, man. Like, come on. We've talked. If you're just getting into here, we were just talking about the defense for a large time. Now we're coming back to the blue line because we needed to figure out the forward group first. I personally agree with you. I do like Justin Hall. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've told you a million times I'm a big fan of the guy. I've gone to bat for him on my channel a million times. Um, and there's people bringing up some options in here if we were to trade Travis Dermott. Because I'll keep saying it. I feel like when they brought in Lettinen, they were like, okay, well now we've got a cheaper Travis Dermott and a guy who
Yeah,
can put up probably more points than him. Unless this is the problem. This season before it stopped, Dermott wasn't having a good year. But the previous season, Dermott looked way better. So was this just an off year with some injuries? And is he going to take another step this year, or is he still going to be the same defenseman?
well, any conclusions that you want to try to draw from this 1920 season, stop drawing conclusions from this season. It was such a waste of a year. I like breaking it down into three blocks. The first 23 games under Mike Babcock, where the team went 9, 10, and 4, complete disaster.
Yep.
And that was everyone. That was the players not listening to him. That was him doing stupid, mindless stuff every single night because there was a power struggle between him and Kyle Dubas. And then there was the first 20 games under Sheldon Keefe when they went 15-4-1 and they were going to win the Stanley Cup and everything was fixed. And then there was the injury riddled mess that followed from like January onwards where they went 12-11-4 without guys like Morgan Riley and Jake Muzzin and Cody Ceci. I mean, say what you want about Cody Ceci, trash him all you want, but those are the three top defensemen in terms of minutes played this season,
Mm-hmm.
and they were missing all of them for over a month. Of course, they sucked.
Yeah, that's true. People keep bringing up Radko Gudas. He was like a healthy scratch for Washington, I believe, and people are saying that like his game might have fallen off a little bit. I like Radko Gudas. I think he's a perfect fit for a bottom pairing guy, but I think if the Leafs were to make an upgrade, I don't think that they'd want to go after a bottom pairing defenseman.
Scroll
Like,
down a little bit, Andrew, just so we can see the entire roster.
um, that far?
Uh, yeah, I think that's good.
Okay, now I know Gudas technically isn't really a bottom pairing guy on the Leafs blue line per se, but I don't know how much faith I would have with him playing top 4 minutes. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I'm not trusting those legs. I'm not trusting him to play top minutes the same way that I'm not trusting Kyle Clifford in any other role than just a fourth liner. And why are we paying a fourth liner more than $1 million?
Yeah.
Like it's not going to happen. Well, and I mean, like John, like you keep saying hot take hockey, like Dermott's going to get better. I I agree, he could get better. That's the risk that you take in trading him, and I think that unless you get an absolute draft steal, you lose that trade by trading him. But if he was going to get better, it would have happened last season. It would have happened this season. He hasn't been able to develop that anything.
Yeah. Shout out to O Nyquist in the chat. What's up, man?
As long as Hyman is there, everything is fine. Yeah, Hyman will just strap everything to his back and just forward. We're going forward with this.
Rick Fur is saying what makes me laugh is we were talking about trading Dermott, young D player, but let's keep Marinson. Guys, Marinson is not in this conversation whatsoever. Look at
He's
the
the
blue
eighth
line.
guy.
Which guy says Martin Marinson? None of them. Which in the scratches? None of them. He's down in the minors somewhere. Marinson is out of the conversation.
He's going to be down in the minors pulling off like spinoramas and deeks like he was doing with the Marlies a couple of years ago.
Yeah, like he's not in this conversation whatsoever. So don't worry, we're not being like Marinson top four if we trade him. Like it's that doesn't make sense. Um, so what else? Literally the best defensive impact pairing. They just had a keeper that couldn't stop a beach ball. Oh, sorry. Yeah, but because a coach sucks shouldn't indicate what we do. He has played top four mins in Philly. Him and Sanheim were the best. Okay, so him and Sanheim did really well. Um,
I don't mind Radko Gudas. Like I said, after watching The Last Dance and seeing what Michael Jordan had to go through to get through the Pistons, I'm all for it. I'm all for adding more physicality and more toughness.
yeah. Somebody said that Marinson's only almost making $1 million. He's making $700,000.
It's buried. It's completely irrelevant. His contract doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's literally gone, dude. We don't have to keep talking about Marinson, dude. He's not in this conversation whatsoever. He has no impact on Dermott. He has no impact on anything. He's just in the minors. Um,
So for the sake of
it's an
advancing this
excuse.
conversation here, for, for the sake of advancing the conversation, let's just move Travis Dermott onto LTIR so we can see how much money the Maple Leafs would have to work with if they just traded him. $3.7 million is it's has nothing to do with the number 6 and 9, but it's a very nice number to work with here.
Yeah,
The Maple Leafs can go out and get it's a placeholder, right? Like I used to put place and then holder, like an actual like player, like create a player named placeholder in there, and they can afford anyone making $3.7 million. Anyone. So you can go out there and add in whoever you want for $3.7 million. That can be Radko Gudas. That can be a Dylan DeMello. That could be a Justin Braun. And I really like a guy like Justin Braun over a guy like Dylan DeMello because Justin Braun probably signs a 2-year deal or even a 1-year deal. Dylan DeMello probably signs a 2 or a 3-year deal. And if you're looking at Morgan Riley there, he's going to need a new contract in 2 years' time.
yeah. Did you know Gudis had more 5v5 points than Giroux in 16-17 less games played? That's kind of
That was
crazy.
that was a hilarious stat when Ron Hainsey with the Leafs. Ron Hainsey had more 5-on-5 points than Shea Weber did for like an entire season.
Yeah, that's actually nuts. Now, a lot of people are big. A lot of people are complaining about us talking about Dermott. Like, this is the problem that I always have, and it's not just. Well, no, it basically is with Leaf fans. Okay, I am a fan of Dermott as well. I'm a fan of a lot of people on this team. I'm a fan of Andreas Janssen. But the problem is that sometimes you have to move somebody out to make an upgrade. As my phone is ringing, I can't answer this right now. Currently, I'm gonna have to
Okay,
send.
how about we do this? How about because there's going to be injuries. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be injuries. And if Rasmus Sandin's going to come up and play 10 or 11 minutes a night like he was, they even healthy scratched him a couple of times. I don't see that as a benefit to his development. I'd rather have him playing 25 minutes a night with the Marlies, playing with Timothy Liljegren, gelling that pairing together and making sure that they're going to be a part of the Maple Leafs top four for a very long time to come. Let's move Rasmus Sandin down to the minors.
Dude, they can't
He's the
develop
first call
him
up. He's
in
the
there.
first call up.
They
He's the first
can't
call. They
develop
can't,
him in the minors.
but they also can't develop him in the NHL because now there's no power play time and he doesn't kill penalties.
I don't see how this helps at all, but we'll do it. We'll do it for the video
Hold
because
on,
now
hold
the
on.
blue line got way worse.
Let me explain where I'm going with this. Now put Travis Dermott back in on the left side because
The,
we know that Travis Dermott can be effective in a little bit of a sheltered role playing limited minutes. We know that he can do that. So $3.1 million now. You can go out and get a guy for $3.1 million. Or how about this? Move Timothy Liljegren down to the minors as well.
oh God, who are you bringing up?
Bring up Martin Marincin as just a placeholder. He's not
What
going to
about
actually play
Callie
games.
Rosen?
No, he makes 750. Bring up Martin Marincin.
Oh God.
Let me explain my point here. Let me explain my point. So now we got $3.3 million to work with that you can go out and sign a guy, and any guy that you're signing for $3.7 million, you could probably get him for a little bit cheaper, you know, work in a different option. You could still probably afford to go out there and get Radko Gudas, Dylan DeMello, Justin Braun for $3.3 million. So you have that placeholder there. They start the season with that decor. One of those three guys, Rasmus Sandin and Timothy Liljegren, down in the minors, absolutely ripping it up. Someone gets injured, Rasmus Sandin comes right up. In and around the trade deadline, let's say Rasmus Sandin's having an absolute lights out season in the American Hockey League, needs to come up. Travis Dermott has still not taken that step, still not killing penalties, still not on the power play. Gone. Trade him.
See, I agree with you here, but what a lot of people are saying is what I agree with too is like you just told Rasmus Sandin, okay, you belong here, and now you're like, well, actually you don't because we wanna just see Travis Dermott until he gets traded.
But then I don't know. I mean, maybe it is an awful idea, but I'm all about just buying more time with certain players. And if you really want to give Travis Dermott another opportunity, that's what you got. I don't think that Sandin is a full-time NHLer. I don't think so because they were still scratching him. They were scratching him and only playing him 10 minutes a night. They were benching him for full periods. That's not a full-time NHLer.
Yeah, but again, circumstance. I think that what was going on last year was them just not knowing what to do because there were so many injuries and they didn't want to have him playing minutes with people that probably won't help his game. Like I don't think that they were very happy with playing him with Martin Marincin on a nightly basis. Um,
Okay, well this is just like a thought experiment. Maybe what I was saying wasn't really making much sense, but it's like if you really want to keep Travis Dermott, that's the only way to do it.
but see, this is my point. Me, what's Mikko Lehtinen? Travis Dermott.
He's probably better.
What's Rasmus Sandin? Future better Travis Dermott.
Okay.
So to me it's like why not have your top defensive prospect groom in the NHL, and if he's not working then you send him back down and you still have Timothy Liljegren to now try instead.
I'm just trying to create the most depth as possible. And in this scenario, you still have Dermott, Liljegren, and Sandin.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm
It's
cool. I'm cool with trading Travis Dermott, but for the couple of people that said that we shouldn't be trading him, um, or you can just do that. But I don't think that that's good enough. We've already agreed that that's not good enough.
this is what I would think, okay? This might have to be the Leafs blue line until the trade deadline. This defensive core. And then you go, okay, well we need this upgrade. Or if they start the season off terribly, then you're like, okay, well we kind of need to do something. Okay, people really hate your take on Sandin. Really
I
hate it.
I'm sorry. It's just if you're playing 10 or 11 minutes a night and getting benched for full periods at a time and you're getting healthy scratched because your coach thinks that you're irresponsible defensively, you're not a full-time NHLer. I think he's great. I love him, but I'm sorry.
So this is what we've got here. This is what, and by the way, I actually liked your take. Like I do believe that you have to earn a spot.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. He's got to earn it.
People are also not very okay with Kerfoot guys. The way that Kerfoot plays, he was also injured last year for quite a bit of time, and if my jaw was broken and I came back early, I'd be a little scared to play at 100% too. Uh, Kerfoot is fine on that third line. Sure, would you like him at a cheaper deal? Probably, but keep in mind a pandemic happened and the cap was probably going up a few extra $1 million, and the Leafs don't really can't be like, oops, take back the contract. Like we want you to take 2.5 now. Like it's not gonna work. Okay. Um, some Rick Fur really does not like Nylander apparently, but I mean he did quite well before the season ended, but
Well, the only reason why Dermott in would mean Sandine out is because we're still in that scenario. You're signing somewhere else to start this. You're signing someone else to start the season in
yeah.
there. So you would have someone else. You have to remove someone if you didn't want to trade Travis Dermott and still sign someone. That's the only way that you'd be able to do it.
By the way, guys, Kerfoot with Robertson and Kapanen would be pretty fun. Like, let's be honest here, those three would tear it up. Like, I think that they'd be fun. You would see Robertson playing with two guys that are fast as hell. Can you imagine seeing Robertson and Kapanen rushing up the sides and Kerfoot as the trailer? Guys, that's fast players, like three in a row that you're gonna have to try to stop. Um, I think that
Why don't
that
you
line would
move
work.
Dermott for Janssen for a right deal like Manson? That's not Janssen and Dermott is not getting you Josh Manson. That'd have to be Liljegren in a first,
Yeah, dude,
bare
guys,
minimum.
Manson is not going unless it's a king's ransom. I've said this a million times. It has to be Liljegren plus, like what you said. It has to be a first as well. Um, yeah, like okay, what do you say? All I'm saying is if we want a top defender, we need to give up a guy like Nylander. Okay, we didn't say that people are going to give up a top defender for Kerfoot. We didn't ever say that. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Why don't you move Dermott and Janssen? Yeah, no, that's not going to work. If we trade Nylander, it's going to be for Aaron Ekblad or Seth Jones. If we no, Aaron Ekblad is not enough for Nylander in my opinion. I feel like Ekblad is like 50-50 for me. Seth Jones, I mean, of course, like that's a home run. William Nylander is my favorite player, but I don't know if you get Seth Jones for that. And also keep in mind, why would Columbus want to do that? Columbus was fine this year. Their goaltending was good. Somehow they were still pretty good. Ducks will want right D back from Manson. Well, yeah, they would get that with Timothy Liljegren. Um, I don't know. This
I'm cool. I'm cool with having this defense until the trade deadline, but I think that we're in agreement that it still needs to be upgraded.
Yeah, let's do a little test here in the comments, guys. If do you guys agree that the Leafs could go with this blue line until the trade deadline and then make a move? I'm curious to see if people would agree with that. Do you think the Leafs could go with this defense until the trade deadline? I honestly want to know if they think that's a good option.
I don't think Connor Murphy's the most. We did it in our last stream, but I don't think it's the most realistic scenario. I think Chicago would. You'd have to really wow them with something, and I don't think that the Leafs need Connor Murphy. Like for free, yeah, sure, but I don't know to pull that off. Wait, why is everyone saying no again?
They don't agree with the Leafs going with this blue line.
To start the season?
Yeah, they think that the Leafs have to get somebody before the season starts.
Hmm.
They say only two of the guys here are full NHLers.
Okay. Well, that's a
That's a
little
little
bit
ridiculous.
pessimistic.
Um, Too many left-handed shots. Guys, Pittsburgh won the Stanley Cup with 5. And they also were not very good on their blue line. I mean, like Ron Hainsey was like one of their best defensemen. One injury to this blue line and we're done. Well, no, you call up Timothy Liljegren and you have a decent
Yeah.
replacement.
Martin Marincin is only there for the fact that he's just a placeholder.
Dermott, Johansson, and Liljegren for Manson. That doesn't work. They wouldn't take that deal.
At that point, that's quantity over quality.
So, okay. So here's another question. Let's run it by them again. Out of those six defenders, actually no, it's not out of the six. That you can't choose between the six. Who are you trading out of there? Justin Hall or Travis Dermott? If you realistically,
Ooh.
if you were gonna make a trade, who are you trading? And forget the no trade clause because the Leafs would tell him, listen, you're out of here.
Well, it's a modified no trade clause, so it's like an 8 team or a 10 team
Yeah,
list.
there would still be teams that he could be traded to. So Hall and Dermott, who are you trading then? Who are you trading? Because one of those guys are gone.
Holler Dermott, put it in the chat.
This is going to be interesting because a lot of people were against trading Dermott and Hall, and then a lot of people were against having Sandin in the minors. So, like, who are you trading? Morgan Riley? Like, give me a break. Dermott, Kerfoot.
Everyone's saying Dermott. Rick's saying Hole, but he also said to trade Nylander, so
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, Rick. I
Oh,
don't mean to
yeah.
pick on you.
People, oh, we're getting a few holes in there. Dermott.
Oh, it's starting to pick up.
Hmm. This is really confusing.
It's clear that everyone's thinking Dermott.
Yeah.
Hull makes more, but like I said, he's an actual right shot defenseman, and he plays on the penalty kill. So I think that 500K difference is null.
Yeah. Okay, so let's be realistic then. Who, guys, they're not trading Kerfoot as well. Then you're just eliminating the depth that we have.
Okay, so move Dermott onto LTIR.
Okay, but who are we replacing Kerfoot with?
Kerfoot? Who's talking about Kerfoot?
That's what I just said. You said put him on LTIR.
No, Dermott.
Hold on, what are people saying in here? Matthews. Oh my god, give me a break. Okay.
If the Leafs trade Matthews, I will give away all of my jerseys for free.
Okay, so
I'll even pay for the shipping.
that gives the Leafs nearly $4 million to work with for a defenseman.
Oof.
Oh, it's a joke. It's a joke.
Oof.
So,
$4 million in this economy?
guys, Joe Thornton is not good enough to take over one of those lines with also having Jason Spezza on there.
Yeah, I mean that's more just a pipe dream. That's more me wanting him to play one game so that I can buy a Joe Thornton Leafs
Yeah,
jersey.
guys, I love Joe Thornton, but guys, it's not gonna work. They
Best
can't
name in hockey, Teddy Bluger.
they can't have Spezza and Thornton running the third and fourth lines. They don't want that.
Kerfoot, I don't see like okay, like we talked about him breaking his jaw. Like he had a feeding tube and he was eating liquids for nothing but like a week and a half. Like I don't know about you, but if you have a broken jaw and you're eating nothing but liquids, like if you're blending a steak, you don't have much of an appetite. And for a professional athlete that doesn't have that much of an appetite for a week and a half or 2 weeks, he probably lost maybe like 10 pounds, maybe even a little bit of muscle. And then he's coming back, and you're not going to be at 100%. And I don't think he was at 100% for the rest of the season. So I think Kerfoot, before he got injured, before he broke his jaw, and maybe he had a little bit of a concussion even because Jeff Carter hit him really hard,
Yeah.
was on pace for 40 points.
Yeah, he was on pace for 40 points, guys. Like that's not you're not going to get anybody who's going to play with that type of speed and get those points at the third line center
Now hold on.
position.
Richard every video comments about Lucas Wallmark. Every video I post, he's like, we need to go out and get Lucas Wallmark. If we could trade Alex Kerfoot and get not necessarily in the same trade, but just trade Kerfoot and then do a separate trade for Lucas Wallmark, I'm game for that. I'm here for that.
Okay, wait, is Walmart wait, Walmart is on Carolina.
he's with the Panthers. He
Oh, he's
was
with the
included
Panthers.
in that Trocheck trade.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, but here's the thing. I just don't see why trading Kerfoot's a good idea. But I mean, if that's what we're gonna do here. But
Well, I mean, if Walmart's gonna sign like a 1 or 2 year deal, um, for like 2.5 million bucks, that's another $1 million that they're saving.
I mean, but see, that seems more fantasy land. But to me, because I don't think that he's just gonna like we
Hey, I mean,
can.
before we woke up yesterday, it was Fantasyland that Miko Lettinen was going to be a Toronto Maple Leaf. It's Fantasyland that they were going to win the draft lottery to select Austin Matthews. It was Fantasyland to suggest that John Tavares was going to come home.
Um, yeah, I mean, people. This Stefan or Steven is still saying that the Leafs need a shutdown line. Like they have players that can play decent shutdown roles, but they don't need to have a shutdown line. Like there's a lot of good teams that don't necessarily have a shutdown line. They have shutdown defensive pairings. People are saying Walmart isn't good. He's a fourth liner. Like see, it goes back and forth. I
I
don't
think,
know.
well, I mean, people don't like Kerfoot and either, so it's just like,
People are. Here's another one. If he was cheap, why would Florida trade him?
Well, I mean, if you take a look at Florida's cap situation, they're kind of all over the place.
Yeah, but
They,
dude, if they get a compliance buyout, they're gonna be fine.
yeah, but who do they? I mean, do you want to pull up Florida's thing? Like, open up another tab and we can take a look at it. Because there are a couple of players on their roster that we can maybe look to have a conversation about.
So this is Florida.
And remember, they were in a position where they needed to shed salary. They needed to shed about $10 million in salary, and that's exactly the amount that they signed Sergei Bobrovsky to in the offseason. But like I did a video talking about already, um, to buy out Sergei Bobrovsky would be like lighting $40 million on fire. And I don't think that they're in the business of doing that either. So
What
when
the
we're
hell
looking at,
kind of donation is that? Oh my god.
all right,
Well, sorry.
well, I mean, your words don't really hurt us, but thank you for the $2.
Yeah, thanks. But I mean, holy crap, I would almost want to give it back. Anyways, um Eric Holla, like they have some options here.
See, but like with their team, if they're already under prerogatives to cut salary, and they have guys like Mike Hoffman and Evgeny Dadonov and Mark Pysyk and Mackenzie Weegar and Lucas Wallmark to resign, they're not going to be able to keep all of them.
No. But I don't know. Let's hold on. Let's look at
It's
Lucas Walmart.
it's either they fold or they concede to the evil empire that is the Toronto Maple Leafs and give us either Lucas Wallmark for free or Mackenzie Weegar, preferably Mackenzie Weegar, because that would solve a lot of problems.
Okay, so Mackenzie Walmart, or sorry, Lucas Walmart had 23 points in 60 games played.
He's more of an in between third, fourth liner, but he's a really good skater. He's more of a defensive forward. I mean, if I had to poach one of the two between Lucas Wallmark and Mackenzie Weegar, I'm going after Mackenzie Weegar.
Hmm.
Hard. I'd go hard after Mackenzie Weegar.
So, so why wouldn't so then get him? That's what I'm trying to say. Is like,
This is a guy that kills penalties. This is a guy who's decent 5-on-5. His advanced analytics are really good. Everybody likes him. Everybody. And he'd sign for about $4 million or so. Maybe a little bit less, maybe 3.5, depending on the amount of years.
oh my God. See, this is
What's going on now?
somebody said this Ed guy says, guys, F Walmart. We need defense, dude. Guys, we are trying to get defensemen. That's we're trying to see who you can
Well, we're
trade to
trying to
acquire one.
explore trading Kerfoot, and if we trade Kerfoot, then we need someone to replace him.
What if we went after Hossa or Gabrick for LTIR?
I mean, I don't really think that that's gonna.
I don't know.
I mean, they could, but I kind of like not having to worry about LTIR. When you're into LTIR, there are lots of things that you can't do. Um, I would rather just avoid that. It's very complicated to explain, and I don't have everything in front of me, or else I would be able to explain it. But when you're going through on a daily basis, you can occur cap space, so you can like save up cap space, and like save it in the bank. But when you're in LTIR, you can't do that at all.
Yeah. People are saying, what about the GOAT? I don't think he's making this team.
Well, I mean, you could resign the goat.
So what? You put Freddie Gauthier at fourth line center and make Spezza your third line guy, and then
No, he's
Kerfoot's
just your
fired
healthy
into the sun?
scratch. Fire Martin Marinson back into the sun and have Martin Marinson as your extra guy there, because you can shuttle Timothy Liljegren up and down as many times as you want with him avoiding waivers. So you don't need to carry a defenseman. You don't necessarily need to.
I don't know. I don't. Here's the thing. I don't think Freddie the Goat really like has an effect on what we're doing
Okay,
here.
Freddie, we need to have a conversation about Freddie the Goat, because in terms of like his actual skill and his advanced analytics and his numbers, not very good, even in terms for a fourth line forward. But it really says something about him that he took the second most defensive zone draws on the Toronto Maple Leafs this season.
Yeah.
You don't think that that player has any value to his coach? You really think that they're just going to fire him into the sun and just completely forget about the guy that was second in defensive zone draws on the team? That's a huge thing for them to replace.
Yeah, it's true. So like, do you think the okay, this is a crazy idea. Okay? Do you think that the Leafs could also afford to trade Kerfoot on top of that and then just be like, okay, well, we're going to get Freddie the Goat at a cheaper rate, put him on the fourth line, get him defensive zone draws. Spezza played good enough where he can play on that third line because Robertson and Kapanen will be fine. And then you just use all that money and go after a defenseman. Do
No,
you sacrifice your depth to go after a defenseman?
no, no. I would sacrifice Kyle Clifford to go after a defenseman.
No, because then now you're taking away something that you need.
Well, I'm not sacrificing center depth.
Yeah. All right. Let's go back to this cap space. $3.9 million. Does that get you Mackenzie Weegar?
Probably.
Is it? Do you think so, or are we just being like, hey, here in Candyland, Fantasyland, we get whoever we want for $3.9 million because that's what we want?
I mean, I can pull up something in the meantime, but it all depends on the amount of years that you want to sign him to. I think that in this economy, for a player like that, if you offer him more years, you'll get him at a cheaper rate just because it's guaranteed money for him. Especially because we don't really know what's going to be going on with the cap for like the next year or two or three even. So right now, evolvinghockey.com or evolving wild on Twitter has Mackenzie Weegar. All right, it's not coming up.
Okay, people are saying it would be nice to have Naz at 4.5 right now. Nazem Kadri was my favorite player before, but let me just tell you right now, it doesn't make a ton of sense when you're telling us that third line centers shouldn't make 3.5 that you want to get a guy who makes more money. So what is it? Do you just not like Kerfoot, or do you just want like what is it?
Okay,
Go.
so Mackenzie Weegar projected to sign a deal for $3.956 million for 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Damn it, we're 40 grand short.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know what you do at that point.
I mean, 4 years, 3.95 million. No, we're still short. 4 years, $3.9 million.
And then we have $16,000 to spare. See, this is what I'm trying to say here is like we're Leaf fans. So obviously we're like, yeah, like it's gonna work. Like we're gonna get this guy for this much, and this, for all we know, Kyle Clifford might want might want $500,000 more than what we're projecting, and he's gonna get that. Mikheyev could get 1.8, and then all of a sudden we have like $1.5 million to work with. You know what I mean? Like we do not know how these deals are gonna work out. We're just projecting them at lower numbers so we can have more money to get a defenseman.
Sports Gamer 91 mentioning an interesting name there. Try to get Eric Cernak. I don't know if you want to take a look at the Tampa Bay Lightning's cap friendly page, but they're going to be in a bit of a crunch with Andre Vasilevsky's monster extension kicking in. So you might, but Tampa Bay Lightning are the Tampa Bay Lightning, right? Like they're going to wiggle out of any kind of trouble that they would be in because they also need to re sign Mikhail Sergachev as well.
Yeah.
And they're already going to probably be losing a guy like Kevin Shattenkirk. So they can't afford. They're going to be losing at least one of those defensemen, Kevin Shattenkirk, Eric Cernak, probably both. But then again, if you're looking at compliance buyouts, that adds an entire other. A couple of people saying Matt Roy or Matt Benning from the Oilers. Matt Roy, I believe, plays with the Kings. He would be a decent little guy to acquire, but Mackenzie Weegar would definitely be better than those guys. But I don't necessarily think that the Leafs need like Mackenzie Weegar is like a solid top four right-handed shooting defenseman.
Yeah, and this is what I'm trying to say in this conversation. It's like, okay, it's all good and well that we can come up with whoever's an option and who's a guy that can make them better. The Leafs need a guy that's going to guaranteed make them better. They need a top four right-handed shot defenseman. I know it doesn't grow on trees, but they have to. If you're giving up on Dermott, you're trading Janssen, you need to make sure that you're getting somebody that's significantly better than what you have. You can't just be like, well, here goes Dermott and bring in a guy that's, oh, he's pretty decent. No, we need to get somebody who's good. That's the problem. They need a good defenseman. So this like, oh, he could work BS to me screams who cares? In my eyes, I could care less about these average defensemen. They need to get somebody who's very good. That's the only way that they're going to be any better this year. You can try Dermott until the trade deadline. You can give up on him. You can put Sandine in the minors. You can do all these different things that people don't like, but they need somebody good. They need somebody good. That's it. That's what they have to do. So, how much is Josh Manson getting paid right now? Like 4.5?
For I think it's just four exactly or like 4.1.
Okay, so there you go. We can't afford Manson either.
And yeah, Terry also mentioning why would Tampa Bay give up Eric Cernak to a divisional rival the same way the Panthers would be not inclined to give up Mackenzie Weegar to the Leafs. But I mean,
No, Tanev is going to demand more than $4 million. The Leafs can't do it. Get Bobrovsky and Uyghur. Compliance buyout
uh,
Bobrovsky.
that's my that was my crazy video idea where I said that the Leafs should trade for Sergei Bobrovsky only to use the compliance buyout on him. But I think it's too expensive. It's too
Yeah.
expensive. It'd be like $40 million to do that.
Also, we just have Janssen and Dermott on LTIR. Basically, those trades can be whatever you want them to be. Like it could be a part of a package for a defenseman, or they could just go for picks if we were gonna sign somebody. Yeah, why would we go for an 18-year-old that's not gonna come into the lineup like right away? I don't think that's. And plus, like, are you really saying we're gonna just slide an 18-year-old into our top four and it's gonna work out?
Well, it's the question. This is definitely progress, right? Like signing Mikko Lehtinen, having him there solves a couple of problems for the Leafs. Um, it solves that problem on the power play, like we mentioned before. They have a guy that can actually take shots other than Austin Matthews, which would make Austin Matthews more dangerous on the power play. And they got a guy that they can maybe depend on and play a little bit more minutes. I think that Mikko Lehtinen is similar, if not a little bit better than what Tyson Berry was for them this season. He can do that. That'd be good.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Robert Stacy says Manson take on Kessler contract, get rid of Clifford, give them Cappy. So in this trade, sure we would get a good defenseman, but then you're giving up Kapanen, so there goes some good depth for penalty killing and scoring. You're giving up Clifford, so there goes our toughness. So you're losing two things to get something, so you're making the team worse to get a trade. I'm telling you, it's gonna cost Nylander, but they don't need to trade Nylander. That's the thing. I don't think that the Leafs are in a position right now where they want to give up William Nylander.
I trade Kerfoot and Cappy before I trade Nylander, and at that point, 3.5 more million dollars in cap space would be more than enough to get whatever you're talking about.
See, we might be in a world right now where we're not realizing that the Leafs are okay with Jason Spezza on the third line.
I don't think that they are. Kyle Dubas preaches way too much about depth to be okay with almost 40-year-old Jason Spezza on the
Okay,
third line.
okay, but what did you just say though in terms of Freddie Gauthier playing on that fourth line? They obviously look at the analytics. He wins faceoffs. So, like, are they saying, okay, well, we're just sacrificing having? Maybe they're saying we're gonna try to I don't know, play the top two lines more often. And by the way, I didn't say Manson is not tough, but you're giving up multiple pieces so you're making your team much weaker and grabbing a good defenseman, but you can't give up guys that have significant tools that are making your team better because now we're just eliminating all the depth that we have. You're trading Dermott, you're trading Johnsson, you're trading Kapanen, you're trading Clifford for one guy just to acquire one person. That
Troy
doesn't work.
Stetcher Troy Stetcher worries me a little bit because he's arbitration eligible this off season, and it scares me in the same way that it scared me acquiring Cody Ceci. Is that the arbitrator can just go ahead and say, okay, Troy Stetcher deserves $3.5 million. Troy Stetcher deserves $4 million, and there's a really weird loophole where the Leafs could maybe walk away from it, or they might not be able to. No one really knows, but I'm kind of scared of the arbitration case that's probably coming for him. No one really knows what his cap hit's going to be next season. It could be $2.5 million. It could be $3.5 million. It could be four. And if it's another Cody Ceci situation, I don't think the Troy Stetcher's good enough to be making $4 million a season.
Yeah. Um, this is where I go back and forth because yeah, I mean Stetcher is not good. Let's just get that out of the way too. I don't think Stetcher is that good. Um, and see, there's the other option. Do they trust Engvall to come up and play the third line center role and put Spezza on that fourth line? Because that's something we haven't really talked about. Because now you're
I
saving an
would have
extra 2 million.
I would have said yes, but Engvall did absolutely nothing for the Leafs in his last 20 games played. So that's why he's not on this roster right now.
But let's say trading trading Kerfoot and bringing Engvall up gets you that top four. Like you're able to afford that top four guy. Like,
I mean,
dude, here's the thing. If Freddie Anderson and Jack, like, first of all, let's just acknowledge that Jack Campbell's an upgrade over Hutchinson. Okay, he's gonna end up being better than him, and I also think he's gonna play a little bit more than what Hutchinson did. So we might see some better goaltending. Freddie's got to get back on it on his BS, man. He's got to get back and do his thing. He's got to be back on. I can't curse, but he's got to do it. Okay. Resigning Barry and trading him would do nothing for Toronto. This is what I'm thinking. What I don't think that it would be a bad idea if the Leafs traded Kerfoot and brought in Engvall to play in that third line center role because the Leafs could also mid-season just go after another depth centerman guy and fill him in there, or they just they make their blue line really good, and then it kind of eliminates the fact that okay, we're still trying to get Engvall going here. Like this is what I'm saying. Let's just look at it, okay, just for the sake of it, okay.
okay.
Isabel, what's up? Thank you for joining the stream. Um, let's put Kerfoot on the trade block, okay, and we'll
Okay.
bring up Pierre Engvall again. Now you have $6 million.
I mean, I don't. That's a lot less depth in that bottom six than what it was before.
But what happens if Nick Robertson plays like a 10 to 15 goal guy? I mean, you're essentially, dude. Johnsson didn't play the whole year basically, right? So you're putting in Robertson there. That's already better because there was nobody there anyways. You're bringing back Mikheyev. You have Clifford back. You have Barabanov. You have Jason Spezza again. You're just hoping that Engvall can play like he did before he signed that contract. That's the risk you're taking.
I mean, if Engvall would have had if Engvall would have been just a little bit better in that last 20, I mean, 20 games is not a small sample, right? We're not talking about that's 20 games is a quarter of an entire season. Um, and he did almost nothing in a quarter of his season.
Hmm.
So it's just like I don't trust him to come up and fill third line minutes. I don't trust him to play a consistent 15 minutes a night.
But it's just that $6 million screams at me.
It does, but okay, who are you gonna add for $6 million that's gonna make this team significantly better this off season? Like who is that free agency? Is that
Okay, this is where people might agree with me, might disagree with me. But if the Leafs are really locked in on like, okay, we're like really really sure that this forward group can get it done, and we need that last piece, you can trade for Josh Manson because now you have the money and you have pieces that can go the other way. But
I'm not comfortable with giving up Liljegren and a first round pick for Josh Manson.
but okay, but here we go now. You have the money for Uyghur. That's what's being said here.
We already had the money for Uyghur before.
Well, not exactly. We had a
Come on,
bit
he's not gonna
less.
compromise 40 grand.
No.
Well, then I don't want him to begin with at all if he's not gonna compromise for 40 grand.
So do you think that you can get Mackenzie Weegar for $3.9 million?
I mean, maybe on like a 2 or 3 year deal instead of a four
Does
year
he take
deal.
that?
Probably.
Okay, so then let's look at it then, and we'll see what people think about the roster.
But then
So
who are we trading though to Florida for Mackenzie Weegar? Because straight up, Mackenzie Weegar's worth a lot.
yeah, but he's an RFA, right?
Yeah. No, but I mean he has a lot of trade value. And also there's the factor that Florida and Toronto are in the same division.
Okay, so just come up with another name then. How good is Dylan DeMello?
I'm comfortable with Dylan DeMello.
Comfortable, or is he good enough? Because
I
I
think
like
that
him.
I think that he would be a good option for the Maple Leafs on the penalty kill, and I think that he would be a decent D partner for Morgan Riley. I think he would be exactly the partner that Morgan Riley needs because Dylan DeMello can just play defense, not worry about it, and Morgan Riley can just fly around and do whatever he does offensively.
Okay, somebody brought up an interesting name, Travis Hamnick. Guys, please don't say Eric Branson ever again. Please. He's one of the
Travis
worst
Hamonic,
defensemen in the NHL.
Travis Hamonic is interesting because Calgary has TJ Brody as well as Hamonic, who are both UFA defensemen, but it's just I don't know. I don't really know how much better Travis Hamonic right now is projected to have like a $4 or $5 million contract, and I don't think that he's that good. Also, he's projected to sign like a 3 or 4 year deal, and he's already 29 years old. I'm not comfortable. I'm not comfortable with signing a defenseman long term that's already that age because then more we have to re-sign Morgan Riley and Zach Hyman and
Okay,
get another goalie in a couple of seasons.
so people are saying DeMello sucks and Hamnick is bad.
Well, I mean, no option that we say is going to be a crowd pleaser unless it's uh Petrangelo or Josh Manson, and that's not happening.
Yeah, guys, this it's Manson Anaheim doesn't want to give him up. And Petrangelo is going to get $10 million or $9 million. So where the hell are we getting that money? It's not happening. Um, I mean, Brody would be an interesting option, but then again, that's another
The
left-handed
he
shot.
had he put the Leafs on his 10 team no
Yeah,
trade
that's
list
what
in
I was gonna
January.
say. Like, it's tough. So if you are going for Uyghur, let's just entertain the idea. What does that trade look like?
It'd have to be a
Because
lot. I mean, we'll go back go back to Florida's cap friendly page. Is there anyone else there but Sergei Bobrovsky that we can take that would help them out financially? Like, is there any bad contracts here? Like
hmm,
really bad contracts that would save them some money?
I mean, Matheson. Are they
Not
happy
that
with him?
yeah, they really like him.
I like him too, but like, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think that's really a bad contract.
Anton Strawman maybe, but then again, he has a modified no trade clause.
Yeah. But if it's for the purpose of a buyout, I mean, I think that at this point he would just be like, all right, well, I'm getting this money plus I could get more money from another team.
I don't know, maybe
Trade
acquiring
Sandine
McKenzie.
for Uyghur?
No,
No way.
I don't like him that much.
Adam Larson, people are saying. That's an interesting option for me.
Okay,
Let's look at the
okay,
Oilers real quick.
okay. Because I I don't think Adam Larson is that bad. I mean, for the role
Okay,
that he
right
would play
away,
for the Leafs.
skirt right there. That bad? Then he's not an option.
Wait, what do you mean?
You said he's not that bad. Like I like
No, no,
Larson too, but they need an upgrade.
but for the role that he would like play, like we just need someone to kill penalties and be someone that hits and block shots. I mean, he does.
Somebody keeps screaming offer sheet Uyghur.
Uh, I mean, he could be susceptible to one.
I mean, I don't know. How much do you have to offer sheet him for them to not match it? Like like the point of an offer sheet is that you overpay a guy to the point where the other team can't respond. And they would
Yeah,
respond at 3.5 or 3.8 or whatever you offer. They're going to respond to that because they're going to be like, "No, we want you to trade for him." Because what at that rate, what do they get? Like a second round pick? Like what's the compensation for that? Like I don't even think it's a lot.
I think over $4 million becomes is just or under 4 million bucks is just a second.
Yeah. I don't know. This is the thing. This is tough because the last time we did this, people were very like, okay, yeah, this works because we also didn't have Lettinen, right? So we were just
Yeah,
like we traded for
under
multiple
four
guys.
million dollars, under $4 million is just a second round pick. Over 4.059 is a first and a third.
Okay, Connor Murphy is another name.
He'd
How
be he'd be expensive to get into trade too. I mean, like we traded Kerfoot for him last time.
that's true. I mean, but
Kerfoot and a bunch of other stuff.
okay, but what if you're trading Janssen and Dermott plus a pick for him? Is that too much?
Janssen and Dermott for Connor Murphy.
Yeah. Because keep in mind, you're trading away Dermott's
I
rights
don't think that that helps the Blackhawks
to
because
replace him with a cheaper defenseman and a forward that can score 15 goals.
I don't know what his trade value is though. Like
Who?
I don't want to be too
Murphy?
Galaxy brand. Yeah,
Hmm.
because I mean he like he plays a legitimate shutdown role.
Okay,
Like
but
he's
dude,
probably better than Josh Manson
oof.
if
Okay,
I'm
well
being
then,
honest.
okay, but dude, this is what I'm thinking though. There, this is the Blackhawks. Okay, are we gonna Galaxy brain a trade and go for Strome? Because they were saying
No,
that he was on the trade block as well.
Dylan Strome is better offensively than Alexander Kerfoot, but so much worse defensively, and
See,
we don't need
thank
more
you.
players like that.
Yeah, because guys, Kerfoot is actually pretty decent defensively at the center position. He was injured. He didn't really get to show everything last year. Like let's be honest here. Um, and yeah, see, somebody said to be honest, you have to overpay a little bit for a right-handed shot. So like, do you overpay to the point? And this is what I brought up last time. They've got a couple interesting prospects, right? Mikhail Abramov. He's a pretty good prospect for the Maple Leafs.
I don't think he has much value in a trade, though. I think he's more like sneaky.
I don't
Like
know,
he has more
man.
like sneaky value.
Okay. Oh, okay. Here's another thing: the buyout situation. You take on Seabrook.
But they would already use their compliance buyout on Seabrook. They have Seabrook and Zach Smith.
Okay, so you
See,
take on Zach Smith, like we did
I,
last time.
yeah, I mean you could. So it's Zach Smith and Connor Murphy for what? The last time we traded Kerfoot and like 2 seconds or something like that.
So you trade. I don't know. This, man, this is difficult.
I mean, we could just say, like, F it and just trade Timothy Liljegren. We could.
Okay, let's ask the chat that. Do you trade Timothy Liljegren in a trade for Connor Murphy? Yes or no? And by the way, Downtown Stephen Brown just said he thinks Murphy is better than Josh Manson. Do you do
Well, I think
you
he's more versatile.
do
I think
you
he does more things.
do you trade? Well, how physical is Murphy though? Like realistically.
Very. He hits, he blocks shots, he kills penalties, he chips in on offense.
Okay,
He's
then
a
this is a
full shutdown
no-brainer.
defenseman.
Then that's a
Full shutdown
no-brainer.
defenseman. Like his zone starts are like 44, 56. He plays almost exclusively in the defensive zone.
Then to me that seems like a no-brainer. A no-brainer. Like that's like legitimately okay. People are saying yes. We got nope. Yes. No. See, I would rather not have to give up Timothy Liljegren.
I mean, you get 2 years of Connor Murphy, I believe. What's his contract? Go over to the Blackhawks cap friendly page.
Just sign TVR. Good God, no.
I don't think he's good enough. Yeah, so they'd have 2 more years of Connor Murphy. Yeah, okay. I'm comfortable with including Liljegren in that trade. Trust me, no, Murphy is that good. He played over 20 minutes a night for the Blackhawks and was in a huge shutdown role and had positive advanced analytics.
So yeah, guys, if somebody said Murphy's not that good, guys, Murphy is actually really good.
He hits, he blocks shots, he logs over 20 minutes a night. He plays almost exclusively in the defensive zone.
Point totals aren't too bad either.
He chips in.
He was a +2, which I mean doesn't mean a
On the
ton.
Blackhawks were terrible defense. The Blackhawks were worse defensively than the Leafs. He's 6'4", 212 pounds too.
All right, so let's see how the trade looks like then. So yeah, I don't
I'm
know.
cool. I'm cool with it. Cool with it. Connor Murphy's young enough, and his contract's good enough. I'm cool with it.
Okay, so Timothy Liljegren would be going. And
Mm-hmm.
guys, like, here's the thing. Um, why would you trade a Liljegren who could become a headman? I don't think that his value is that high.
That's a long shot.
That's a very big long shot.
Is Murphy injury prone? I don't know. Let me look. I didn't think that he is when I made the video about him. Um, I don't think so.
Guys, Dustin Bufflin is like 300 pounds sitting on his couch. We're not getting a guy who's not playing hockey. Dustin
I
Bufflin
mean,
is not in shape and he doesn't want to play anymore. I'd
not
like
really.
him.
He played 73 games, 78, 77, 76, 52 in 2018, 2019, and then 58 games this year.
Yeah, he's not injury prone. So I think people are just
That's not
making
injury
stuff
prone.
up so we don't have to trade Timothy Liljegren.
I think Connor Murphy does make you legitimately, like, it does make the Leafs legitimately better.
Okay, Connor Murphy. Who else is in this trade? Do you send Janssen the other way because like he's just part of the deal? Like are you spending too much at that point? Or do you send Dermott in that deal?
I don't think Janssen has positive trade value right now.
So is he in that deal?
I mean, if the Blackhawks just want him, I would just give him to him.
See, I'm against like I think
Nicholas
Janssen.
Hjalmarsson is injury prone. Someone's mentioning Hjalmarsson in the chat. Hjalmarsson is injury prone, not Connor Murphy.
See, I feel like Andreas Janssen is in this deal.
Yeah, okay. I mean, they're gonna trade him anyway. I don't care about draft picks.
So who else is in this package then? Or does that deal go through? Or do you include a second from 2021 in that package?
I mean, I think that the Blackhawks. Well, you also have to add in Zach Smith.
You think?
Well, then the Leafs would buy him out.
Okay, well then I don't think we would have to add anything else except for a late pick.
Like they would use a compliance buyout. Janssen doesn't have positive trade value because he's coming off of like hip surgery.
Murphy is overrated AF. Murphy a top 6 at best. Lots of people don't like this guy apparently. Let's what about his AZ3 comparable?
We can look that up just for some quick on the spot analytics. Okay, let's throw up hey Derek. Let's throw up Murphy, and then let's throw up like Dylan DeMello, because Dylan DeMello would be like free. Like no assets.
Oof. Those numbers aren't very good.
Those are last 3 years. Do like last 2 years.
And then who did you want? DeMello?
Yeah, DeMello.
I can be able to see it. So do last year?
Like the last 2 years. So 17.
Yeah, his numbers are still aren't good.
Okay, so maybe Connor Murphy's not as
They
great
both
as we
aren't good.
thought. Well, I mean, DeMello's not that. He's not that bad. But I mean, that's also in a heavy defensive role. I mean, if we're looking at his right, like players playing in shelter, like look at Travis Dermott. Like he's playing sheltered, and his numbers are absolutely unbelievable. Well, yeah, of course they're unbelievable because he's playing sheltered the entire time.
Here's the other thing that like people don't understand. You're selling low on Janssen because the Leafs have to. They don't have a choice. They have to get rid of salary.
Okay, so maybe we're not giving up Liljegren for Connor Murphy.
So who is in that deal then? If you're taking on Zach Smith, I still feel like Andreas Janssen is in that deal. So maybe Travis Dermott is also a part of that deal.
Okay.
So Travis Dermott, let's look at this. So for people to understand what we're doing, Zach Smith is coming to the Leafs just so the Leafs can buy him out because the Leafs don't have anybody that they really want to buy out, and it's not worth it. They have guys that they can trade instead of buying out, okay? Oh my god, somebody said it's Tavares the Leafs compliance buyout. No, he's never, ever being a compliance buyout. Um, Andreas Janssen doesn't really have that much value because of his hip surgery. And by the way, we're not just saying that. Chris Johnston of Sportsnet said that teams don't care.
Yeah,
Like,
they want to see him play games,
yeah,
and we're making this straight in the off season. So he would basically just be a throw in this.
um,
Right now, Janssen doesn't have, but realistically, he's probably fine.
yeah. So Janssen and Dermott, but that means you're definitely including a pick. So I would think that second is definitely involved in the trade. The Leafs are doing the Blackhawks a favor, but not a big enough favor where this is all that has to be in there. So, like I said, I still think it's going to take a couple pieces that they have to be like, okay, well, this guy could be something in the future.
I think this is too much. Like,
Abramov is in that deal.
no, he's not. This is too much. It's a 4-for-1, basically. That never happens.
So you think that Dermott and Janssen, so it's basically Dermott for Murphy. That doesn't work. Dermott in a second for Murphy.
Well, Janssen, he doesn't have trade value, but he also does. It's weird. Like general managers would use him having hip surgery as an excuse to say he doesn't have trade value, but he has trade value, just not as much as it was before.
Yeah, people are saying that Murphy's stats are like not as good as we think they are.
Well, you also got to remember Murphy plays high defensive minutes. Like his zone starts this season were 55-45, 62-38, 50-50, 59-41, 54-46. You know, he plays a really high defensive game, and when you're playing exclusively in the defensive zone, of course your advanced analytics aren't going to be the greatest. Like if you look at Dermott, like if you look at Dermott's advanced analytic chart, he's going to be great because he's been playing sheltered minutes.
Oh, Donnie Brasco says we don't have a second to give, and that's probably because of the Clifford thing.
Okay, so
But you can still give up like the next year. And then at that point, the Leafs could also just be like, take another pick.
I mean,
So,
I don't know how confident I am in the Blackhawks just wanting to give away Connor Murphy because they're not really motivated to trade him.
okay, so then why don't we just take this to free agency and pick up a defenseman there?
Like
Because
DeMello,
so let's look at Dylan DeMello then.
Strawman's not a UFA next season.
All right, so Dylan DeMello, what does he get?
3.25,
It's not going to be that cheap.
3.5.
I think you like that everybody takes a discount for the Maple Leafs, and I don't think it's going to happen.
It's not too much of a discount. 3.25, 3.5. I mean, we have the money. You have the money. Just go ahead and give it to him.
Eddie Wickman says, "Who cares about this? Then go somewhere else." All right, so 3 years at 3.5. Is that what you're thinking?
Sure, that's probably fair.
So this is now the Leafs blue line if we were to go with it like this. That's an upgrade. So the Leafs are left with $416,000 in cap space, but they keep their depth in terms of Kerfoot. You're probably trading Dermott and Janssen for picks, so they stock up on a couple extra picks. You're essentially probably getting back the pick that you lost for keeping Clifford.
Yeah, like they'll make up for that.
So they keep Dylan DeMello, or they get Dylan DeMello and Mikko Lehtinen, so that's two upgrades right there. And you're still keeping your depth because you still have Timothy Liljegren as well. So now Martin Marincin is right back into the minors.
Well, I'd want Timothy Liljegren playing on a nightly
Yeah, but what if
basis.
they're rotating a few of these guys?
They could. I mean, it doesn't really matter, right? Like they can.
Somebody said Brendan Dillon. I mean,
He's tough,
yeah, Brendan Dillon's tough. I mean,
but
it's
he's a left shot defenseman.
yeah, it's another left shot. If you want another right shot, then Dylan DeMello's probably a good option.
Chris Tanev. I mean, if you didn't like Connor Murphy because he's apparently injury prone, Chris Tanev is even worse.
So I don't know. So this is what the blue line would look like. When none of the big dogs took any discounts, then why would new players or free agents? Guys, let me just tell you something. I know you do not like William Nylander, but Carolina is paying Jeff Skinner $9 million to get
Buffalo.
30, or sorry, Buffalo is paying him that much to get 30 points. So why are we complaining about William Nylander? Dude, it took like Patrick Marleau like 6 years to get, or something like that, to get 61 points. It took Nylander one full season. So why are we complaining here? I hate Dylan. He hit Matthews with a high hit. Yeah, and guess what? That shook up Matthews, didn't it? Wouldn't you want a guy on our team that does that? I don't
I
know.
mean, I don't mind this team.
This team is much better because you're calling
I
up
don't know if it's
Robertson.
I don't know if it's much better, but it's gonna be better by default because we probably won't have the injuries that we did this season.
Okay, who's better? Who's better bang for your buck? Mikko Lehtinen or Cody Ceci?
Mikko Lehtinen,
Okay, so who's better, Dylan DeMello or Tyson Barrie?
probably about even. They're different players.
But one's better defensively.
Yeah.
So then this is a better team. That's my point. Plus you're getting a full season of Kyle Clifford, so the toughness is there from the beginning. You get a much better backup in Jack Campbell. This team's much better to me.
And you don't have to deal with 23 games of someone just frigging around with your roster.
Yeah, and no Mike Babcock, the best part about this entire team. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think this team is much better.
Guys, I'm going to plug it one more time. Someone mentioned it a little while ago. I am 9 subscribers away on my channel from 700 subs. The link to my channel is in the description of this video. I am posting 3 or 4 Leaf videos a week, just in-depth analysis with stuff like this, having conversations. I respond to most of the people in the comment section. If you want to go and right click, open up another tab, and drop me a sub, I would really, really appreciate it. It'd be really insanely cool to get the 700 subs before the end of today.
Yeah, guys, right now in the description box, please, for the love of God, go and new tab, click on a new tab. I know that there's probably enough of you guys in here that we can get him to 700 subscribers. The guy I'm talking to right now, Downtown Sports, go and subscribe to his channel. He has his own channel if you don't know him. Go and right click down in the description box, open up a new tab and click subscribe. Let's get him to 700. He does lots of really good videos. Make sure to get him there. People are saying Clifford isn't tough. Not sure what you were
Oh,
watching.
Terry, thank you. You just posted the link in the chat.
Nice, nice, nice. Somebody also said Gudis would be good. I mean, possibly, quite possibly. Rick Fair said still need another D. No, they don't. I mean, you could, but who are you trading? Yeah, guys, go subscribe to him.
What can we do with Bracco? I mean, if you're the thing with Jeremy Bracco and AP, you and I could probably do an entire video just about Jeremy Bracco. Is that he needs power play time. He needs power play time to be effective.
Yep.
And there's no like which forward are you taking out of the lineup in favor of him?
That's I don't know.
He just doesn't have a spot.
How's your subscribers doing?
Well, I guess I can check.
Still 7 away.
8 away, I'm seeing.
Guys, go subscribe to him. I know you guys can go do it. I mean, a lot of these people are probably already subscribed to you, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, like a lot of the people here are just awesome viewers. They comment almost every single time. They always like the videos, engage, share their ideas. What if Nick Robertson doesn't work out? Richard, you know how I feel about Nick Robertson. He's going to work out. He's gonna, like I said, if he doesn't play one game with the Toronto Maple Leafs next season, I will delete my channel. He's going to play at least a game for them, and I'm saying it. He's gonna have between 30 and 40 points for him next season.
I would agree.
It's gonna happen.
All right, I'm thinking this is probably a good place to end off because people are starting to get ridiculous in some of the comments here. But thank you guys for coming in. Make sure, like I said, DTSB, his channel, it's Terry, just linked it again. 7 away from 700. Please go subscribe to him. Like, I feel like it makes too much sense. We really, really need to get this guy to 700 subscribers. If not, if it doesn't happen right now, we're making it happen somehow. Like, I don't know how, but it's gonna happen. Anyways, I don't know. I think it's good to end here. Thank you guys so much for joining in. And I don't know, do you have anything else to say?
Thank you to the person that donated $2 and said something really, really weird. No, but thank you to everyone that came out and watched the stream today. And if you did go over to my channel and drop a sub, really do appreciate it. I'm probably going to be posting a video tomorrow. Not 100% sure what it's going to be on just about yet. But if you say hi in the comment section, I will respond. I normally do. It takes me a little bit of time, but I normally do respond to everyone.
Yes, and thank you to all the people who are super positive in the comments. And by the way, when we're bantering back and forth with you guys, it's not because we don't like you guys. It's because we have to be constructive here. We have to talk about, you guys have to be tough on us. We have to be tough on you. That's just how it is. Austin, thank you. You are so positive the whole time. Shout out to Austin. But yeah, thank you guys again. I appreciate it, and hopefully we'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Him and I always do collabs, so again, go subscribe to him. Subscribe. If you're not subscribing right now, you're gonna find a scary monster in your closet. Okay. See you guys later.